Recap for November 19th. I gotta get off because I'm gonna just tweak out. I'm too tilted. This is like the most annoying day that's happened to me in a very long time. Finished with two break evens, so break even on a day. Really frustrating, bro. I don't even want to do a recap. Let me delete these levels. So my whole idea was based off of really, I was just looking at this internal structure, what we were doing. We had just ran over these 15-minute highs off of the sweep of these lows. And market open, we were floating back around the retest. So I wanted to see um, what these 655 lows were going to do on the market open. If we were going to regain them and hold, I was going to be bullish on these highs. If we were going to continue holding under them, I was going to play this internal sweep into all these lows. So the market opened, we were already holding underneath them, but on what should be this liquidity sweep of the 655 high, it couldn't even push the opposing lows and just made equal lows. So when we started regaining that, I wanted to be bullish and play this as a failed liquidity sweep. Uh, and originally, I was also watching these internal highs to see what we would do because now we have a bigger time frame idea of this 655 being a failed sweep when we made equal lows down here. So I wanted to watch this 1 minute range. If we were failing to sell off of this 1 minute range, then I wanted to be bullish and get involved right here. So we tried to spike these highs. We're start holding up this monthly level. All the failing of these highs does is just to rebalance and hold 65 from above. We push back up, regain it, and end up expanding over those highs. I wanted to take a retest of this wick, but I didn't like how big my stop was. So I was gonna try to get a full filling to the low end of this with my stop below that last candle, but I just couldn't get filled. Um, and then from there, I was bullish into all these targets off of 655 as a failed sweep. First to the actual high that I was convinced this was not a liquidity sweep because we couldn't push the opposing liquidity. And now we're losing the 1 minute range. So I wanted to get into this target. And if this was going to be a bigger scale run, just all these next equal highs on the 15-minute chart. So I couldn't get filled there. Boom. We get up to this first target, 733. Uh, I want to be long if we're holding above. I couldn't really find a good area to get involved here. We pushed up, started holding it. I just really couldn't get a good entry in there. We're basically just start completely floating above every target, 810, 859, everything's getting floated above. And then at this point, I was looking at the three levels in between the range of these two higher time frame levels. So this projected defined range, this PDR, just to get more information on what we're doing within the range of these two levels, along with all of the liquidity we're stepping over. So we get over this 859. It's just floating. I'm looking to the next target, which is 959, which is the huge highs of this range. And so I'm just looking for information for ways to get involved. We finally start stalling, and it's at the halfway point between these two levels. 959 is the next target. We're already failing to sell off of this 859. So when we started stalling on this, I wanted to say, okay, what is the stalling of this level doing? Is it gonna actually make huge equal highs with 959 and try to lose this range and get back under all the liquidity we swept? Or is it just to sweep some internal low and then regain everything? And that's what we did. So we started holding out this level. All it did was push us and sweep this low, and then we instantly started regaining. So I wanted to still long into these next targets based on everything getting pushed above. If this stalling is just a pullback to the internal low. So I was looking at the range of this wick because this is the wick that was holding this internal price down that wasn't getting closed above. It was the oldest wick that wasn't getting closed above. We run this internal low, we push back over this level and over this wick and hold. I'm not trying to long it yet. I wanted to see what we actually do at the internal high because we could be on some, like, this thing is flown so much, we could get into a little bit of a range boundness just off the potential. of being extremely one-sided. So I wanted to make sure we're not going to just sell off this internal high and we're going to hold everything back up before I try to play it. But we just, all that this stalling of this level does is sweeps this internal low, get back above, we break out of this wick that was holding, we get back above the level, but we still rejected those highs. So before I want to get involved, I just want to make sure that this high is not actually like selling us off to stay in the range. All the rejections off of this high does is pushes us down, rebalance into this wick that was holding, hold this level up from above, and then close back above those internal highs. So once this candle closed, I was wanting to play this thing just to get into 59. Obviously, I don't use take profits. I'm just gonna trail because this thing could just keep flying. And I put a limit back on a retest of those internal highs for the first retest of them since we closed above. And I put my stop loss back below the range of this wick because we already filled it up. We shouldn't need to come there again. I'm thinking this is going to be the breakout at least at 959. If this candle would have closed and pushed up to 959 and then tried to fill me, I would not have taken it because now we've hit the next target. I want to get it before. And this is where my biggest mistake of the day was. I got in this trade and I was extremely greedy and I did not start trailing anything at all. I was buying into, like, I was believing that there was potential, especially after this explosion, right as I got in. There was potential for us to fill up this whole range and just keep floating over these levels. And so I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm pushing 3R, but I'm not gonna lock in a trail until like I didn't want to just lock in a trail immediately like on this fair value gap. I wanted to see us try to hold up 59 and then keep pushing and I want to trail something from there. But this just ended up being the high of the move, and I ended up getting break even on a trade. I was up 3R, which that's never happened to me before. And the feeling that came from that was sickening, so I'm never going to do that again. But yeah, after that, I had to chill because I was like tilted. Not tilted, but I was like feeling a little sick to my stomach that just gave that up. And then yeah, this thing was just chopping from here. Since we're stalling, we've hit this major target of all the highs in this range, 959. I simply am playing, okay, is 959 a sweep? How are we how are we interacting with 959 and the internal liquidity of the opposing idea in the range? 959 is just cleanly holding, but it's stalling off of this PDR level. I want to play 959 as a sweep if the internal lows can't get bought up because then our higher time frame huge liquidity sweep idea is overpowering internal lows trying to get bought up. So specifically, I was watching these equal lows right here. I wanted to see what we were doing at these equal lows after we hold off 959 because this is potentially going to be a huge sweep. So we're holding 959. We try to spike those internal lows. All it does is just push up. It can't even reach anything and it starts stalling. We try to spike them again for a sweep. We try to reject under. We do hold underneath those lows, but then there's no follow through after that. Next candle tries to push and buy these lows up and regain, but it just holds directly off of this higher time frame level, the 50% of the range of these two levels. So at this point in my mind, I'm thinking 959 is holding clean as a huge liquidity sweep. The first set of internal lows have had one, two, three attempts to buy up, and all of them are just gradually degrading and failing. I started looking at this wick, the range of this wick, as an area of support holding this price action down here to, if this thing gets broken after we just failed to buy up these internal lows like 5 times, I want to take the retest of it to try to play 959 as an actual sweep. So that's what I did. As soon as we get this rejection underneath, like look, we push up to try to buy up this low for the final time. We close underneath them lows, hold them, and then close underneath that wick. I took a retest, not of the edge of the wick, because I was convinced that I could actually get a higher entry because the close was really shallow, so I thought we would at least retrace a little deeper. So I put my limit. I kind of eyeballed it. I didn't do the midpoint of this wick. I did like basically right where the body of this order block was. I put a limit like that, and I got filled in this next candle. And I put my stop above this last candle's high because I was thinking this high was safe because this high tested into the liquidity, the low, from below after we closed it. So we shouldn't need to retest it again if we're gonna still be aggressive pushing. Um, yeah, I was in. I went break even after we broke this previous low when I was up like 1 hour or something, and I just got break even. I wanted to stall, and yeah, I couldn't catch that. Now I still wanted to. The idea was still the same. I thought that 959 was going to be a huge sweep, and so I still wanted to get involved at the next internal low if it failed to get bought up because I couldn't capitalize on that one. So I was watching this low. The same idea still stands because now we were trying to actually stall on that low. Stalling on this next internal low is what took me out break even. So we try to stall on this low. I'm already having this 959 huge sweep idea. All it does is push up to this first internal high and then instantly falls under. So it's looking like we're gonna probably continue past this low off that 959 run or yeah, 959. But yeah, we fall off this internal high. We close back underneath this internal liquidity. Hold it, but we're still holding up this level. We're holding it, we're holding it, we're holding it. We break. I was watching this wick right here because this wick, the range of this wick is what was holding all this price. It was the oldest wick that was making support out of this whole range. So we start holding this liquidity. We can't buy up this low. And then we get this candle that just breaks everything. I'm convinced this thing's about to start falling. I try to take a retest of it. It doesn't retrace. Stop above that previous candle because it held that liquidity from beneath. Literally the same position as up here. I got break even. And I just don't get filled. And this thing starts dying. And yeah, at this point, I was like cringing just looking at this that I couldn't get any R out of anything here. And at this point, mentally, I don't feel in the right position to even keep trading because I'm gonna just try and FOMO into something. So I'm gonna have to call it here break even. But this is like the cleanest day I think I've ever seen in the history of America. So yeah, like I should have came out of here with like 1 to 2 R just from this first position, but stupid management here, being greedy, being up 3 R, not locking in the trail, trying to catch this whole run. And yeah, this was a good trade. This first, this short underneath these lows. It just wanted to stall a little and take me out break even. Otherwise, definitely would have capitalized on a big play. If it didn't want to stall at this next low, I would have been able to definitely catch the regaining of all these levels of liquidity that we swept. Um, yeah, it would have been a good day, but break even. It was a good read. It was extremely clean. Just a little bit unlucky execution. Well, this wasn't unlucky. This was bad management, but break even.